Hello everyone, my name is Artloft and I am a 3D hobbyist. Recently I've been participating in Sculptober 2022, where each day there's a prompt word, and today's prompt word was mask. So I thought I had this female bust that I've done in the past, and I'm going to create this eye mask for her. And it's a relatively simple process. So let's get started. We'll just make sure that we're flat on. So we'll hold down the cube and lock in the view. That way it won't turn to the left or the right or up or down. And now we need to position the picture that we're going to use. I think first of all we'll enlarge it, not too much, and we'll increase the overlay so that we can at least see it. And then we'll bring our photo up, try to position the eyes there. That's pretty good, but you can see that my picture, which is a flat 2D image, is not mapping well onto my 3D model. But make sure our image is equally spread out over the face. Well, we won't be able to line the eyes up, but it's a butterfly image. So at this point, we're going to choose our mask tool. We're going to arrive at a very small radius of maybe 10, full intensity, and for a stroke, we'll get something like that. That is into the power of 5. And at this point, we're just going to start drawing this mask. It seems a little thin, so I might have to choose a different, try that one. Or maybe we'll create one. Just get something like that. We'll see what this does. So I'll just press the back button, get rid of the previous mask. Okay. So here's interesting. So this base mesh was originally a sculpt that I took into Blender and I retopologized it. So looking at the mesh, you'll see that it's a multi-resolution retopology. So originally the squares, when I retopologized it, were much bigger, and then I was able to UV map it, and then I increased the resolution to what we have here. So we are going to have to, in order to use the mask, these squares are too small, too big actually. So there we go. I think we'll get it. And my tablet's giving me a warning. So we'll work with that. Turn that off. And put that back on. Okay. So now that the resolution is much finer, see how thin the line is? Because I have the resolution to support it. So we'll go back, and I think now we'll try that. And I think, too, we'll increase the lazy rope a little bit, just so I have more control. Because I do not draw. Um, so as you can see here, I'm just following. It's like paint by number. Which is my caliber of painting. Um, Now we have the eye is out of position, so I have to be careful about putting too much detail around the eye. And a lot of these fine veins, like you can put them in, but I don't think I'm going to end up using them. All right, let's take away. There we go. All right, so at this point now, we can just take off our lock. And that got inverted. So we do have our masking on. So this is where we can just do a little bit of freehand. See how it's come around the face? So like that. Take a little bit of liberties here. And then by hitting the unmask tool, we can start cleaning it up. Like that. You can be creative. Doesn't have to be like the picture. I'm trying to keep my borders fairly consistent. Plus they have to be, so now I'm going to go back to drawing the mask where I need to. There we go. So you can see this is a fairly quick way to do this, which is the reason why I'm putting it on YouTube, because it's I know that not everybody watches full tutorials. So if I can create something, I've done a few of them, I can create something where you don't have to commit a lot of time to watching. And then you learn something and everybody moves on. We're back to drawing our mask. I don't really like the curve there. We're going to unmask in here. You know, go push your model back and just see what the overall, like, to me, these are butterfly wings and they seem to need a little more on the bottom. So what I might do is we'll unmask in here, because I don't particularly like this here. And we'll just do a little alter that a little bit. And I think we'll just add, to make it wider, we'll bring something in there. We'll come out here. And I think this a little busy in here, so we'll take that out. Go back over what we have. Then maybe bring this over like that. Come through here. Join that up. All right. And you can always zoom in and clean it up. But there's just no way you can do this kind of finer work without a higher resolution. And of course, because I'm working with multi-resolution, you can always go back. You don't have to keep the resolution this high. And I'll show you how to do that. And cleaning up, like what I'm doing, taking a little bit of time to do this, it becomes important because when you extract the mask, which we're going to do here shortly, there will be a fair amount of cleanup around the edges. So there we go. As you can see, I'm trying to have a consistent framework. So wherever it's a little thick or a little thin, you can adjust it. Now, the only thing I'm not really caring about is, and I don't really see this until I move it back and take a look, but this seems too bulky in here. So go back to 10. Looks like it just stops at 10. Like even though you can't see the line, it just stops at 10, which is nice. Yeah, I think that might be better. So yeah, I like it better around the base, but not overly happy with it. But nevertheless, this is just a tutorial to show you how you can do your own excellent work. So one thing that's important is that we get a nice frame around the eyes. I think we'll leave that little area there. Gotta clean up in here. Because this is like a glass frame, even though there's no glass in it. And then we can press the solo button, and you can see that I've got some masking in here behind the eyeball, which I would have had to just cut that out. But I didn't know it was there until I went into solo. And then this is where we're going to clean up around the eye. And then just around the bottom. All right. Now, I think we need a line here. Yeah. Um, well, I'm saying a lot, eh? And there's my Canadian A. Take off, eh? Bob and Doug McKenzie. Yeah, I think I can live with that. Take solo off, and there's my eyebulbs again. So this is where the magic happens. I just noticed this. I'm just going to clean this up. All right. So here, we're already in mask mode. And we have to decide on what is our shell thickness. And I'm using 0.045. And I think that's going to work well. So we'll extract the mask. And of course, it's making a separate mesh. You can see here that that mesh is separate from the head. So we'll get rid of our reference. And we've got our mask selected. And then we're going to go solo. And you'll have to clean this up. Choose the trim tool with the lasso tool. We're in symmetry mode, so it's going to do everything. But yeah, you're gonna have to just clean up the edges. Take your time with it. I do find that if you go all the way around, it will close in the hole. Maybe I can show you an example here. At least it did last time. And that might have something to do with my settings. Hole filling. Yeah, I got hole filling set. So let's take that off. Because if this works, it would make the job faster. Yeah, there we go. So that's the trick. Oops, got carried away there. And look at this. Like, these are just little, like when I erased the mesh in different areas, I couldn't even see these. But these are pieces of mesh that were created because I wasn't able to fully erase the mesh. I didn't see it to erase it. So I think that's all the time I'm going to spend on that. You, of course, can spend as much time as you want, but isn't that cool? So that, like, you would never be able to create a flat mesh and mold it that nicely to the face. So that is a custom mask, almost like a plaster mask. Now, let's look at the mesh. Because my underlying resolution was high, this resolution is also high. So I could like my poly count for this mask is 651. Let's just go ahead and voxel remesh it. And those little, you can go use your image there. I have found that anything around 214 will still respond nicely to the smooth tool. But the question remains here is whether or not I'm going to lose any of my work. And some of it closed up. So we'll go back. Maybe increase this up to 292 there. So I had some closing up. Maybe some of you know why that's happening. I don't know. But I think we'll just leave it as is. We don't need to voxel remesh that. If you want, you can apply your smooth tool. They bring the intensity down and go ahead and take out some of this stuff here. Right? You can see I have some remaining mesh there that still is a leftover artifact. So I'm going to give it a base color. You can go shiny. Let's go over to PBR, because I find that unless I go over to PBR, because roughness and metal don't show up in matte cap. See, it says here roughness and metalness require PBR shading mode. Then I'm never going to see what my paint really looks like. So I prefer to do it in PBR mode. This is kind of a dark blue. Let's see if we can just go with a purple. And that's all rough. So, but if you reduce the roughness without touching metal, you can get a bit of a shine. I don't want too much of a shine. That's pretty good. And then what I did with my Sculptober piece was I did some custom painting. So because my base color is purple, that's going to affect my choice of color. Plus, I want to go from dark to lighter colors as I move away to the wingtips. So I could just start there and also reduce the intensity of my paint. Check to see what sort of brush I'm using. I think I'll use that one. So just come in here, add a little bit of it's just a lighter tone. Go up to some red. My intensity was a bit low. And I think I used about 4 colors, but oops, the brighter colors. Yeah, I just want to touch on that. Don't want to get too crazy. And then on the outside, we can do something a lot different. I don't know what that's like. We'll take our eyedropper and select that color. And I think I'd like to make that a little bit brighter in here. Then we'll take the smooth and we'll just use the smooth tool to blend it together. All right. Now my eyes here are picking up the color from the mask because I think I have them set to refraction. Yeah. So I'll just set them to opaque. when I do the eyeballs, I like to use mask with the circle, invert it, choose a color I want for my eyes. Wonder what color would go nicely with well, nobody has purple eyes unless you're wearing colored contacts. I'm gonna go with blue. Yeah, I'm gonna go with blue. There we go. Bring the intensity up. I can paint that quite easily. Then quickly go down here to black. Put that in there. Bring the intensity down. Bring my brushwork down. Just go around the eyes a little bit. Give them some depth. And I think I will put a little green highlights in there, not too much. A little bit on the outside. Then go with white. A little small brush there. See what that looks like. They're a little, well, I don't have post-processing on, so we'll withhold judgment until that's done. Now here's some magic. We'll take the gizmo tool. We'll just spread the wings a little bit. Oops. I did not have my mesh selected. How about that? Yeah, fits nicely around the nose bridge. Comes away. As you can see, I still have my mask area done on the head, so we'll select the head and select mask and then clear. If you don't do that and you move the head, it's just going to make a mess. Anyways, you should always just clear the mask. And we'll go up here and go down. I don't know if I have any lights set up or not. Yeah, I got 3 lights. So we'll just bring down that. As you can see, my lights are working. Got some shadow there under the chin. I don't always like shadow. And we'll turn it sideways. Bring it in a bit. Here's another thing you can do. Now, mind you, we have a pretty dense mesh here. But if you're careful, you can still work it a little bit. Maybe line it up, because as you remember at the beginning of the tutorial, I wasn't able to line the picture up perfectly. So here we can just fine tune it. Yeah, and yeah, like it's because we've got it away from the face, there's more space there, so visually it's going to be a little different, but that's better. Could bring it in closer, but I'm not going to bother. What are we going to do now? So we'll select the head, and I'm going to choose subsurface as a material. Just softens the skin. Go back to our paintbrush, get a color. I like to use this red up here. Like this is an orangey red at the bottom, but this is a red at the top. And then come out here for the lips. You don't want them too dark. Something like that. And we'll bring that up. I think I'll just back the intensity down a little bit. Just a softer look. And of course, like as you get closer to the mouth, there's less light, so we can darken it up there. And now we can turn on our post-processing. First thing we'll look at is ambient occlusion. You can see some of the soft shadow lines around the mouth. If we increase the strength of the ambient occlusion. So this is an interesting situation. Sometimes you might feel like your ambient occlusion isn't responding. Part of the problem might be like if we choose opaque, like we're going to get a stronger response. But yeah, you just want subtle. The subsurface shader really softens the skin, so we're just going to leave that. So we'll just move on from there. The tone mapping, we can maybe bring exposure, contrast. Saturation we can play with. Color grading, I usually have 2 points along this line that I play with. I usually bring this down a bit and then bring it up a little bit here. Sharpen you can play with, but I think we're basically done. And of course, you can use 3 fingers on the screen to play with the lighting a little bit. Can also increase your exposure here. Rotate your lighting here. So if I were to continue to work on this, I think I feel that the mask is a little dark. Um, in the center area. Okay, so we'll move it into view mode, and there's our mask. I kind of like that position there because I want to show how the mask is away from the face, whereas if I'm head on, you can see, but not as well. And or straight on and down a little bit. All right, so that wraps up using the mask tool to create a mask. In this case, if I selected the head, went into solo mode, let's see here. I could add a little bit of eye coloring. Um, I don't know if you'll see this. With the mask on, but I kind of know it's there. Go down to 10. The lash. And I did notice in my sculpt that she looked like she had like the white eyeballs were taking up the whole area. So let's get out of there. Yeah, this is where, and I'm just fudging this, right? So I'll select the eyeball and I'll just add some go into solo mode. Just add some red in there. I mean, I'm cheating, right? But yeah, I mean, I like the way you don't see the black mascara, I don't think, but you see a little bit of the orange shading there. And The other thing I might do here is when I have my Android tablet on the in portrait instead of landscape, I lose these options up here. So I'll just choose the environment. All right, that's quite a soft, nice look. Of course, you could spend some time and do more work on it. You can see the ambient occlusion showing up here on the ears. Let's see if I can bring the curvature out and the strength down. Yeah, it might be a shadow. It doesn't really matter. You get the idea. So there you go. I hope that you can do something with that and create your own objects and models. You don't have to do a mask, but you can use the surface of any shape to create another unique shape. And in this case, I used a face to create a molded eye mask. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next tutorial.